Women are deeply intuitive by nature. Long before a man says a word, she has already felt his energy. This energetic communication isn't something she consciously interprets, it's something she picks up on instinctively. When a man is practicing semen retention and walks the spiritual path, his aura becomes calmer, centered, and radiant. The silent strength and vibrational purity evoke a response in a woman that she may not be able to articulate. It's a frequency of depth and presence that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands it. Unlike a man lost in lower desires, the retained man holds on to his life force, his creative energy, and it reflects in every gesture, every breath, every pause between words. His gaze isn't hungry, it's grounded. His posture isn't performative, it's stable. This triggers something ancient in the woman's psyche. She may not be able to explain why, but around him, she feels safe, seen, and subtly drawn in. There's a reverence in the air, like being near a fire that warms but never burns. This energetic pull isn't lust, it's resonance. Her subconscious senses the absence of scattered energy. It recognizes discipline, self-respect, and power not rooted in ego, but in inner mastery. To her body and spirit, this man feels like a sanctuary. And yet, if you asked her to describe it, she might fumble. Because this isn't something language can capture. It's a sensation, a shift in atmosphere, a calm gravity she feels in his presence. Over time, she may notice her own nervous system calming in his company. She breathes a little deeper. Her mind slows down. Her feminine essence begins to relax. And this isn't because he's trying to impress her or seduce her. It's because he's not leaking his energy in 10 directions. He's full, and fullness attracts. This is the beginning of the inexplicable pull she feels. A spiritual man on semen retention doesn't even have to try to be attractive. His very stillness and inner clarity become magnetic. He's not fishing for validation or conquest. He's connected to himself, to something higher. And that connection is what draws her in, even if she has no words for it. The mystery she can't place. The feminine mind often operates in the realm of emotion, energy, and subtlety. When she interacts with a man practicing semen retention and aligned with his spiritual growth, there's a mysterious allure that doesn't quite make sense to her. She may even second-guess herself. Why am I so drawn to him, she wonders. He's not even doing anything obvious. And that's precisely it. He's not doing anything. He's being. This mystery arises because most men she's met are driven by pursuit, ego, or validation. But this man doesn't chase, doesn't force, doesn't perform. His energy is quiet but immense. He is less interested in being desired than he is in being aligned. And this flips the script for her. Her usual filters for attraction, looks, status, charm, start to blur. Instead, what touches her soul is the formless presence that this man carries. She can't decode it because it's not mental, it's spiritual. Her soul feels something ancient waking up when she's around him. She feels like she can be more of herself, yet also challenged to rise. It's confusing. How can someone make her feel so safe and yet so exposed, so comforted yet so awakened? This paradox is what makes her feel like she's entered a deeper field of relationship, one that isn't transactional but transformative. Often women in the presence of such men begin to feel more in tune with their own femininity. Without even trying, he activates her softness, her intuition, and even her emotional vulnerability. This is not manipulation, it's reflection. His depth invites her depth. His clarity invites her truth. But because it's so rare, it often leaves her unsure of how to respond. Words fail. She feels him more than she understands him. And so she surrenders, not to him, but to the experience of being around him. She begins to trust something deeper. And in that trust, something sacred awakens between them. This isn't about seduction, it's about elevation. And she might not explain it to her friends, but something inside her has shifted. She may never be the same again. The nervous system reaction. What's often overlooked in attraction is the nervous system response. When a man is rooted in semen retention and spiritual practice, his nervous system becomes regulated. He doesn't carry the chaotic, erratic, or needy energy that often comes from overindulgence, addiction to pleasure, or lack of self-mastery. Instead, he brings a steady frequency that women's bodies instinctively respond to. Around such a man, a woman's nervous system finds rest. She may feel like she doesn't need to be on guard, doesn't need to pretend, doesn't need to compete for attention. There's no threat, no rush, no pressure, just presence. This creates a somatic response in her body that her mind can't quite grasp. She may think, I just feel so calm around him, or it's like I can breathe again. This is because her body feels the absence of sexual predation or manipulation. His gaze doesn't strip her, it honors her. His silence isn't empty, it's full. His attention isn't scattered, it's anchored. All of this brings her into deeper connection with her own body. Without him needing to say a word, she feels held, not controlled, desired, not devoured, seen, not scanned. This is especially profound for women who've had past experiences of being objectified or emotionally neglected. In contrast, the retained and spiritual man feels like a healing presence. His energy speaks of safety, patience, and purity. Her body knows it, her soul knows it, even if her mind can't explain why she feels so at ease, so open and so alive in his presence. This is how deep masculine energy works. It doesn't overpower, it anchors. And in that anchoring, the feminine finds her freedom. This reaction may be silent, even unnoticed by others, but for her, it's unforgettable. It marks a new standard for what she truly wants to feel with a man. The unspoken respect and admiration. Deep down, every woman respects discipline. Even if she can't name it, she feels it. A man who retains his seed, who channels his sexual energy into purpose, is carrying a form of inner authority that cannot be faked. He doesn't rely on charm or status. He radiates integrity. And this triggers a unique kind of admiration in women, not based on societal success, but on spiritual strength. She may not compliment him directly. She may not even tell her friends about this admiration, but inside she respects him in ways she hasn't respected other men. Why? Because she can feel he respects himself. He is not swayed by lust, flattery, or the superficial. He is ruled by a higher principle, and that inspires her not just to admire him, but to improve herself. In this silent exchange, something sacred happens. She no longer sees him as a boy playing games, but as a man walking a path. And that path of semen retention and spiritual discipline speaks louder than any words. It shows commitment, restraint, and clarity. She knows it takes courage to live this way, and courage to the feminine soul is deeply attractive. There's also a hidden desire awakened within her to be worthy of such a man, not in a competitive sense, but in an inspired sense. His energy calls her higher. She finds herself wanting to be more feminine, more nurturing, more in tune with her own soul, not to impress him, but to meet him where he is. That's the mark of true spiritual attraction. Mutual elevation. This respect is the foundation of a divine bond. It transcends looks, money, or charm. It's about soul alignment. And that's why, even when the world doesn't understand why she feels so much for this man, she carries that respect in her silence. It's a reverence she can't explain, but one she'll never forget. The awakening of the sacred feminine. When a retained man lives from his higher self, he creates a sacred container. This container isn't built with rules or control. It's built with presence, purity, and purpose. Within this energy field, the woman begins to awaken. She starts to access parts of herself she hadn't touched before. Her softness, her intuition, her wisdom. She doesn't need to harden or protect. She feels safe enough to blossom. This awakening is not accidental. It's energetic chemistry. When the masculine holds his core, the feminine can unravel with grace. She may not say it, but she feels spiritually activated. The love she offers begins to carry more depth. Her creativity flows. Her sensuality deepens, not in lust, but in sacred expression. And this is something that only certain men, those aligned with spirit and restraint, can awaken in her. The retained man isn't just preserving semen, he's preserving intention. Every drop of energy he conserves becomes part of the spiritual vibration he emits. And this vibration calls forth not just any woman, but the sacred feminine within her. She may feel a new desire, not just for connection, but for union. Not just for relationship, but for resonance. It's no longer about romance, but about divine partnership. In this dynamic, she feels chosen, not for her body, but for her being. And this transforms her. It changes how she sees men, how she sees herself, and how she engages with love. She may struggle to explain this experience to others. It's too deep, too sacred, but she knows it's real. Her soul remembers it. Her heart recognizes it. This is the power of semen retention combined with spirituality. It isn't about controlling desire. It's about elevating it. It's about holding such high-frequency energy that it becomes a blessing to those around you. And for the awakened woman, it becomes the space where she can return to herself, fully, freely, and forever changed. Her soul feels seen, not just her body. For many women, the world has conditioned them to lead with their appearance. They are often valued for how they look, not who they are. But in the presence of a retained and spiritually awakened man, something shifts. She senses that he doesn't just look at her body, he sees her essence. This gaze is not predatory, it's penetrating in a divine way, as if he sees beyond her surface and into her soul. This spiritual recognition can be unsettling at first. She may feel vulnerable, even a bit exposed, not because she feels judged, but because she is finally being truly seen, without masks, without roles. It's rare for a woman to feel this kind of visibility, especially from a man who is not trying to extract something from her. His energy holds space for who she really is beneath the surface. In this dynamic, she begins to feel valued for her presence, her emotions, her spirit. She no longer feels like she has to perform or impress. His inner clarity gives her the freedom to simply be. This can bring tears, deep emotional release, or even confusion. Why do I feel so much around him, she might ask herself. It's because he mirrors back her truest self, without agenda. For the spiritually disciplined man, this is not about power, it's about purity. He doesn't seek to possess her, he seeks to witness her. And in that witnessing, healing begins. Her wounds of not being enough, of being objectified, or of being ignored begin to dissolve. The safe space he provides isn't through words, it's through his very being. She may never articulate this clearly. She may just say things like, "I feel so comfortable around you," or "You just get me." But the truth is, it's her soul thanking him for seeing her fully. And this level of seeing goes far beyond romance. It's the foundation for sacred connection, a bond that uplifts rather than drains. The impact on her emotional depth. The presence of a retained man can awaken a woman's emotional body in unexpected ways. While many men try to fix her feelings or silence her emotions, the spiritually grounded man allows them to exist. He listens. He holds space. He doesn't flinch when she cries or retreat when she feels deeply. Instead, he remains present. This subtle yet powerful presence gives her permission to fully access and express her emotions. This emotional safety activates deeper levels of trust within her. In a world where she's often told to calm down or not be so sensitive, being accepted in her raw emotionality feels revolutionary. She may test this at first, consciously or not, to see if he's real. Will he stay? Can he handle her depth? When he does, something profound unlocks inside her. Her emotional energy begins to purify. She starts to feel more connected to her truth. Tears come not from pain, but from release. Laughter surfaces not as a mask, but as genuine joy. Her emotional self becomes sacred, not shameful. And this shift happens because his retained energy does not fear emotion, it reveres it. It understands that emotion is part of the divine feminine current. This emotional expansion also brings her closer to her spiritual self. As her emotional wounds begin to heal, her intuition sharpens. Her heart opens, her compassion deepens. The relationship, even if unspoken or non-romantic, becomes a catalyst for her own awakening. She becomes more of herself, not less. And again, she may struggle to explain it. She might just say, "I can talk to you about anything," or "I feel lighter after being around you." But in truth, her emotional body is responding to the deep, grounded field that only a retained and spiritual man can offer. A sanctuary where her feelings are not only allowed, but honored. The mirror of her highest self. There's a mysterious aspect to the retained man that often triggers self-reflection in the women around him. Without saying much, he becomes a mirror, showing her not only who she is, but who she could be. He holds his energy so cleanly that it reflects both her light and her shadow. This mirroring is not confrontational, it's inspiring. She begins to see her own untapped potential. Because he lives with purpose and intention, she begins to question where she might be out of alignment. His discipline invites her into self-examination. Am I living with that much integrity, she wonders? This isn't about comparison or competition. It's about invitation. His spiritual journey quietly challenges her to rise to her own. This can stir both admiration and discomfort. On one hand, she's drawn to his clarity. On the other, she becomes aware of her own inner contradictions. Yet instead of pulling away, she feels pulled forward. His presence makes her want to meditate more, heal more, grow more. She sees in him a reflection of the divine masculine, and it awakens the divine feminine within her. This activation of her higher self is subtle, but life-altering. She starts choosing better relationships, setting stronger boundaries, and following her soul's calling more courageously. She becomes more radiant, not to attract him, but because she's being reminded of who she really is. This is the silent alchemy that spiritual men bring to women's lives. And perhaps she never thanks him out loud, but inwardly she knows. Because of him, I remembered myself. And that kind of remembering is priceless. It's not just chemistry, it's legacy. He leaves a mark on her soul, not by conquering her, but by helping her conquer herself. How she senses his sacred discipline. There's an invisible strength that comes with semen retention. It's the kind of strength that doesn't shout, it radiates, and women can feel it. It's in the way he walks, pauses, and chooses his words. This energy isn't rigid or cold, it's intentional. She knows without being told that he isn't ruled by impulse. And this quiet restraint speaks volumes. Discipline in the modern world is rare, especially in the realm of sexuality. So when she meets a man who chooses conscious celibacy or sexual transmutation, it shocks her system in a good way. What kind of man does this? She wonders. And then deeper within her, another voice answers, a man of purpose, a man of mastery. This sacred discipline doesn't suppress his desire. It refines it. He still appreciates beauty. He still feels attraction, but he doesn't let those feelings control him. And this makes her feel honored, not objectified. She feels like a woman, not a prize. She feels adored, not consumed. This distinction is everything, and she may begin to reframe her own relationship to desire. In his presence, she may start to value slowness, depth, and energetic union over instant gratification. The way he treats his own body and energy becomes a silent sermon. It teaches her, without words, the power of delayed pleasure, of sacred waiting, of divine connection. Even if nothing romantic ever happens between them, she walks away changed, because she's seen what discipline looks like in a man. And now her standards shift. She realizes that pleasure isn't just physical, it's energetic, and the most powerful pleasure is born from sacred restraint, not reckless indulgence. The lingering impact. After he's gone, perhaps the most powerful sign of a spiritually retained man's presence is what happens after he leaves. Whether it was a conversation, a shared space, or a momentary connection, his energy lingers. She finds herself thinking about him, not in obsession but in reflection. His vibration doesn't fade quickly. It stays in the room, in her thoughts, and sometimes in her dreams. She might be unsure why. We barely spoke, she tells herself. Why does it feel like he touched something inside me? The answer lies in his frequency. He carries such clean, potent energy that it resonates beyond the physical. He doesn't just enter her space, he enters her field. And when he leaves, it's like a sacred imprint remains. This imprint isn't one of possession, it's one of remembrance. She remembers how she felt in his presence, calm, open, connected. And now in his absence, she begins to yearn not for him, but for that version of herself that came alive around him. He reminded her of her soul, and now she wants more of that. This is how the spiritual man inspires transformation without even trying. He doesn't seduce, he awakens. And awakening is irreversible. Once she has felt the difference between fleeting attraction and divine resonance, she can't go back. Her entire lens for love and connection is forever altered. And maybe they never speak again. Maybe their paths only crossed briefly. But in the deepest part of her being, she carries the memory of him, not as a lover, but as a mirror, a moment, a message. He may never know the depth of his impact, but she will never forget it, because his presence planted a seed in her soul, and that seed will bloom in silence.